All right, so this is one of our SSs that is being assembled currently. And I need to point out a few things about how to make this fork work. Normally in a bike fork, because of all of this apparatus being welded together, generally speaking, your alignment is fixed. It just either works or it doesn't work. On this fork, everything is adjustable about it, like everything, because when you unbolt these crowns here, these legs adjust and you can change the angles of everything to your heart's content to make it work. That's a little hard to get over, but it's how this definitely works. This is the same thing as like what's on a motorcycle. So motorcycle legs, they are individual and you can twist them around and do what you need to do. The difficulty comes in this, is that in a bike shop we have tools and we can take a look and verify that these dropouts, so this part here where the wheel bolts into is called a dropout, and we can verify if these are parallel to one another. That's one of the keys. On this fork though, all we really need to do is worry about this side with the brake. And what we want to look at is that, first of all, if this fork leg is twisted in this angle here to where the brake is pointing over here, we're going to have a problem. What we want to really look at is getting this fork leg to where when the wheel is in here, this apparatus here that holds the brake caliper is parallel to the rotor. Okay, that's the number one thing. If this thing is parallel all the way, we have the same gap here as here, we're looking really good about getting the brake to work appropriately. Okay, occasionally we may have a little adjustment issue, but it's pretty darn rare now. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and stick the wheel in here, and so we're going to stick our wheel in here. Because of how fat this tire is, there's usually just a little bit of interference. Come in a little bit of an angle, we clear the brake. Okay, so this is a very tight fit fork, and what we're looking at here is getting the fork to come in, the wheel to come in the fork like this. You might have to come in a little bit hard like that, not uncommon. The first thing you want to look at is when you get the wheel in, before you even really tighten it up, is look at the center ridge of the tire. You'll see a natural line. What we want to do is aim for the center of the fork. If we can get that set right from the start of these lining up, we're going to have a good chance of getting the brake to work right. Okay, so you can compare also the gap of the wheel to the sides of the fork as well. So if you need to, you can shift the fork, you can move this a little bit this way. Now, there's two different means that you can go about with this system here. Is like there, I tightened one side too much and it actually moved itself out of the fork. But here's the thing. If this is not lining up, there's two different things going on. Either the wheel's not all the way in the fork correctly and bottomed out here, or the fork legs are not in the same position side to side. So you could do one of two things. If you verified that the axle is in the right place in the dropout, go ahead and tighten it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be mega tight, but you can put some tension on it like this, right? Okay, once you have done that, you go, okay, am I still centered? You can then take the bolts loose here with the 4mm, move the leg slightly until you're centered. You got to do that first. If you're now relatively centered, you can now take a look in here, and if you, with the camera aim, you'll see this. That mount for the brake is very parallel to the rotor. That's what we're after. If we're parallel to the rotor, then we have a chance to get this to adjust correctly.